What up, Loyalty family? What's the deal, man? You already know how this go. Nigga, we got another reaction video. Let's get it. So today reacting to another Swamp Stories. Today reacting to Florencia 13 versus the East Coast. Unfortunately, it ain't no versus no more. Not unfortunately, but by grace of God, man, ain't no beefs no more, man. They settled that beef maybe like, I don't know, maybe I'll say in the last 10 years, the beef has kind of like settled down and they had like a peace treaty and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, glad that they did do that, man. Hopefully more hoods can come together and, more hoods can come together and do the same. You know what I'm saying? But you already know this go, man. Comment fire starts being the highest, one star being the lowest, and send me your favorite clip that I share. Let's get straight into it, man. Let's press record. Press play.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this episode, we head back to Los Angeles, and this topic is going to be out of the ordinary. It's real history that many people do not know about. But before we get into it, make sure to...
If you're from Southern California, you know about this. Anybody from Southern California, they gonna know. This has been going on, you know, before a lot of us was born. Real talk.
Leave a like and subscribe if you're new.
Some of your
you
favorite
can also
rappers
follow the new Swamp Stories Instagram page where you can send
this.
a DM to request a video. So let's get
I'm not
into
gonna say
it.
they don't know nothing about this.
Here we are, back in the legendary South Central LA. And for this video, we cover a specific area that hasn't really been covered yet. And when I heard about this story, it really blew my mind. But in order to tell the story, let me cover some ground of the geography of South Central. South Central LA is divided into more than 50 sections. Each section has their own set of allies and opposition. On this channel, we cover the Hoovers, who stretch from Vernon down to Imperial. We also cover the 5-5 neighborhood and the 5-7. But that doesn't even cover nearly a fraction of what goes on in South Central. And especially these days with the shifting demographics of LA. So in this video, we focus on a specific area on the east side of South Central. The area is called Florence Graham, and it's located south of Slauson Avenue, east of Interstate 110, and goes all the way down to Huntington Park. Well, pretty much the Florence Graham area is split into two sections, and this story is insane. But before we get into it, let me run the intro.
Shout out to my boy Sibo. Shout out to P1. Shout out to my boy Barassi. Shout out to Richie making moolah. You know, you got a few others from over there that rap. You feel me? As well as also from the East Coast.
Let me introduce you to the East Coast Neighborhood Crips. They fall under the neighborhood umbrella, and there are 7 sets of them in just this small area. Starting off with the 5'9", the 6 Deuce, the 6'6", the 6'8", the 6'9", the 7.
The East Coast is another group, right? I don't know if you guys seen the neighborhood video, the neighborhood 60 video versus everybody. This is another fraction of, let's say, a neighborhood thing. And East Coasters also have a big fraction of people, right? Where, you know what I'm saying?
The 9,
they have so
finally
many
the 8.
right?
One thing about them is that
LA
they're all united and they rock together when things get real. They were actually featured on Hood Vlogs a couple of years ago, and that's where they gained some national attention. But honestly, the current state of them does not represent what they used to be. Their size has really depleted over the years. So let's take it back to the start. It all started with a legendary man named Raymond Washington. Born and raised on 64th and San Pedro, Washington along with Tookie Williams were the founders of the Crips. But when Raymond Washington was released in 1978, he formed his own. Still in alliance with Tookie and the rest, he called them the East Coast. This was in order to represent that they are on the east side of South Central.
And those are all the hoods they beef with. I mean, some of the hoods they beef with. Of course, they beef with the Pueblos, they beef with the Grave Streets, and they beef with the Swamps.
These rivalries never really stopped, in the sense that they made a truce or something, because that's certainly not the case. But what happened is that new rivals were made right in their backyard. These next guys I'm going to talk about were always, well, some would say they were always cool with each other. Others say that they simply dealt with each other. But either way, there were no problems until the year 2000. For decades, they all shared a neighborhood and never bumped heads. Let me introduce you to Florencia 13, one of the
oldest hoods and one of the turned up, bro. Like, you know, this beef alone, right, affected not just LA, but it affected surrounding cities too. Because let's say you was riding a train, you have to go through, like if you going, let's say if you're coming from the Compton station, because that's the only way I can speak from. If you're going through from the Compton station, you have to go through Florence. You have to, my nigga. Let's say you got to get off on Florence. That makes it even worse because, you know, they may, you know, my mistaken identity is the number one thing for any place that you've been to. It's the number one death. You feel me? Mistaken identity. You know, because bullets ain't got no name, and you know, and they just see, let's say they may see you as an African American or see you as an opposition. So all they doing is protecting their land, protecting they area. You feel me? They're saying it's right, but that's what will go on. You feel me? So it did affect people a lot, bro.
Oldest groups in LA. Although they started
Just
back
any
in the
train
1960s,
station you
Florencia
go to really
made their
don't have to
name
be
in
prepared for some
1971 after an
bullshit.
incident that made
But it will
national
always be,
news.
you know, it's
May
always worse because
21st,
it's like, Latinos, and they may see you
1971.
as,
A Florencia
like I
man
said,
named
like a black
Trinidad
person, they be like,
Iglesias,
man, I don't
also
know
known
who
as
he on.
Trini, would be on Florence
Vice
Avenue
versa,
with
they
a
might
few
have to go to a
friends.
black
Well, it so happens that
area.
there's some sheriffs
Same
in the
situation
area
they
as
have.
well, investigating a recent incident. In order to investigate, an officer named Gary Saunders walks up to Trini to ask him some questions. Trini then runs away, turns around the corner, and runs up the steps of an apartment building. Officer Saunders follows him up the steps, and bang! This incident was a huge deal, and it made news all across the state. But it made even bigger news when Trini was only given 4 years. Despite having all kinds of evidence, he was given the lightest possible time for it. How this happened, who knows, but it is California after all. Well, Trini would get out in 1975, so let's head to December of
Man.
Curology has been my girl for many a year. That makes me very excited to introduce a brand
1978, Trinidad Iglesias' brother, George Iglesias, had allegedly failed to pay back some money. So let's say that he was given medicine, and he's a doctor, of course, and he was supposed to give out the liquid medicine to patients and receive money for it. Well, it turns out George never paid the money back. Bam! Well, that's the official story of what happened, as told by LA Times. But Trinidad had a different idea of what happened.
First of all,
he thought that the sheriffs did it because they were upset about what happened in 1971. He really felt like they were upset that he only got 4 years. Trini was convinced that they were responsible no matter what, so he figured that he would handle it himself. Just days later, Trini would be in Huntington Park, which is just east of the Florence area. He would be outside all day waiting to run into a sheriff. And finally, he would see a sheriff inside of a restaurant. So Trini would enter the restaurant and wait, while the sheriff would get up and walk to the bathroom, and so would Trini. Bam! Well, thankfully,
this nigga Trini is turned up.
Dan Senf would end up being okay, and Trinidad Iglesias would once again go down for it. Round 2. What would happen this time? Anyone want to guess? Check it out. Trini would end up beating the charge due to the jury saying that he seemed too nice to do something like that.
What the
Literally, a woman on the jury was quoted as saying, "He just looked like he wouldn't do something like that." But wait a minute, he had literally done the same thing 7 years ago.
Twice.
How could you even say
twice.
that? But remember, this is California, so things are different. Well, I hope this story was interesting enough, so let's explore some more Florencia. The Florencia territory is much larger than East Coast. They cover most of Huntington Park and the Florence area of South Central. They border the East Coast and overlap in some places as well. But for decades, they coexisted in the same area. F-13 had their rivals and East Coast had their own. In fact, they even worked together sometimes, but that ended up...
Of course, that goes on, right? Even was making money together, was doing drug businesses and stuff like that. If y'all don't know, this story, somewhat of this story he's about to start speaking on is on Hood Vlogs, where I think a drug deal may have went down. I think, listen to me, I think a drug deal may have went down, and the East Coasters may have robbed the F-13s or Florencia 13s.
Up being the beginning of the downfall. The
But
reason they worked together
of course
is
they
because
was working
they both
together
made
because, like
money
I said,
in
they
the
in
exact
the same
same way,
environment, so they
distributing
went to school
things
together,
that, let's say,
all this
are
type of
the
shit.
opposite color of black and the opposite texture of water. Well, in the late 1990s, they decided that they could help each other out and increase their profits. This is when things got crazy. The year 2000. While F-13 and East Coast are in business together, F-13 pay a group of 6'8" East Coast members to transport something for them. They would give them a car which contained 200 to 300 keys in it. And when I'm talking about keys, I'm, the things that open the doors. That's right, YouTube. And for those who don't know, that is a ton of money. Like life-changing money. Well, the life-changing money part, that's exactly what the East Coast guys thought as well. They thought that this could change their lives. So instead of transporting it, they decided to keep it. Well, the Florencia leader named Arturo Castellanos, he would get news of this, and he was not happy about it to say
Man, hold on, guys. Press record.
the least. Now, he would get news of this, and he was not happy about it, to say the least. Now, of course, the money was lost, but he would also take it personally. The disrespect shown to him and his guys was not to be tolerated. And this is when Florencia would spark everything off. It became on site. Every day was hectic in South Central LA. So let's cover some of the important events. So on some unrelated stuff, Arturo Castellanos would end up going down, and he was sent to Pelican Bay. And this is where he would make his orders. He would order a cleansing of the East Coast. Interpret that how you want, but I think I know what it means. One thing about F-13 is that they use words that I'm...
And like, of course, my boy say, shit, if y'all gonna take from us, we gonna have to make a statement. We're gonna let you guys know why. If you gonna take from somebody or take from anybody, it's gonna be repercussions to it. And that's what that's what it was, you feel me? And of course he had that type of power in the hood where, nigga, you got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that dude.
Not going to say. And for a while, they would graffiti it all over the neighborhood. For F-13, anyone who even looked like they could be East Coast was a green light. And this led to many random acts.
What did I tell y'all, right? And I told you guys, riding on the train, bro. Let's say if your girlfriend stayed and it so happened to be staying in that area, right? You got to go get off the train, get on the bus, or even driving through the area. You might want to stop at the store, and you might end up in that motherfucking F-13 at that time. You might end up in the F-13s, bro. And I'm sad to say it, bro. They was nigga K. It's straight up. It was nigga K. And it ain't even, to be crazy about it, right? They even had black people from their hood. So it's not really nigga K. It's really fuck them. You feel me? And vice versa. You may have, let's say, African-American hood, predominantly African-American hood that says, fuck such and such. It ain't really against them because, nigga, we got a Mexican, we got an Asian, we got a white person, we got this in our hood, so it ain't really fuck them. It's really just fuck y'all because y'all are against us,
November 11th, 2004. 3 men, Emmanuel Romero, Mario Moreno, and Edgar Navarro would meet up. Moreno would be driving, and he pulls out a big thing and says, "Let's do this." So they drive all around the East Coast area and decide to head down to the 8-9 East Coast. They go to the corner store and see an older man outside. That's when Moreno hops out and bam! Daryl Denard was a 53-year-old grandfather who happened to be homeless at the time and had nothing to do with East Coast. Either way, East Coast was not happy about it. November 12th, 2000.
And some people gonna say he didn't have nothing to do with it. Every hood got they smoker, man, or they bum, or somebody that they know in the hood that does something for him. So that same individual, man, he was probably a loved person. Even though he was a bum, he still was a loved individual in the hood because they must have seen him every day. It was something that he did for them. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, mistaken identity is a motherfucker back in the day. Even still to
Edgar Navarro is hanging out on the corner of Randolph and Holmes in Florence. That's when a car pulls up and bam! This was a big deal, especially because Navarro was only 16 years old. So Florencia would not be happy about this. And remember, for them, as long as you fit the description, you count. November 27th, 2004. A 28-year-old man named Marion Miller was standing on Firestone Boulevard in the Florence area. And just like Daryl Denard, Marion Miller had absolutely nothing to do with East Coast. He just happened to live near the area. Well, either way, a car would pull up and bam! For a few years, everything remained hectic. Every day in the neighborhood brought a new incident. And these reckless acts by F-13 caused the feds to take notice. That's because this was no longer street activity. I think they did a whole street. Touching civilians crosses a line that should have been drawn. And the crazy thing about it is for East Coast, this wasn't even their only rivalry. They had rivals all over South Central. Well, everything would lead up to Operation Joker's Wild, the largest takedown in American history. Turns out
so
the
they
feds
raided
had been
both
tapping
hoods.
Florencia for over a year and collecting everything that they needed. October 16th, 2007. 102 arrests were made for hundreds of charges. And here's how it would turn out in court. Now let me get into my DJ Vlad mode. The feds have a 98% conviction rate. So of the 102 F-13 members...
Have you ever been declined for a credit card?
But yeah, man, that shit is crazy, guys, because at that time, boy, and you gotta imagine so many other hoods had to deal with that same situation where the Joker Wild, all this bullshit, where they got these names for these hoods.
How many do you think got convicted?
96.
That's 96 of the 102. That's 94%. So congratulations, Officer Vlad. That's close enough. Despite the big takedown, the new generation would carry on the same rivalry for the next 13 years. There are countless events that took place over this time period. Someone should write a book about it. But 2020 brought some change to the community.
So is it still going up?
Well, everything's good now.
Okay, so 2020. So I think it actually came. I think it came a little bit before that. I think so. I don't know exactly when, but I think it may have happened a little bit before that. Even before that, it was talks for years. It was talks, maybe like of them ending it because they was losing. They was losing random people, man. Even vice versa. Just he kind of focused more on saying the Florencias did it, but as well as not just the Florencias, but the East Coasters was doing it too, man. They was getting random people too. You got to be fair with this shit, man. It was going both ways, but like I said, it was going on so long that they had to realize, man, that some of these kids was being infected. Where they can't even go to school now. They
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. But how long that's gonna last?
Hey, as long as they keep on having a dialogue, which they do.
That's the main thing. Dialogue and motherfuckers just. It's about respect, man. That's how it should be, like old school back in the day. You feel me? Before
shout out Bone. I think that's his name, Bone from
somebody can probably get a hold of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we got to talk about this because the last time he was on camera, it was
Tiger.
Flowers. but there's been some dramatic developments in the last year and a half.
Yeah,
between y'all hoods and the F-13's hoods. What was going through your mind when you heard it was going down and these discussions were taking place?
I mean, the day I got the phone call about it, I'm not gonna lie, it was, like a nigga.
Still weird, of course.
I didn't respond well, but I think about it. Like I'm older now, I got kids, and it's a chess move, and it's a good one because I'm born and raised over there, and I've been taking my kids up to Bethune. I'm walking to the store and shit that, I'm still on my toes, but, it's comfortable. I run into them going inside of the store. It's, it's Florence, East Coast. It's what it is. They happy just like we happy because, like, everybody, we growing up, we getting older. But it's better now, you know what I'm saying? It's strategically good.
Were you able to talk to any Florences, like, on a one-on-one?
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there. I was at the meeting, so it was a good thing to see. You know what I'm saying? You still had certain people on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't feeling it.
Of course, that's gonna go on. People are still gonna
by
have
my understanding, it started
neglect to each other.
In the pen first. You know what I'm saying? The piece started in there first, and it sprinkled out here. It's been good. Like that shit it's an enjoyable. It's a good feeling when you born and raised over there and you had to walk them streets. And, like that shit was cracking every day. So to be able to walk into a store with them and, you know what I'm saying, not really
have to worry about yourself, you know what I'm saying?
Be prepared, but not really, with your mind is not really on that shit like it would be 4 or 5 years ago. And it's lasted, it's been 2 years now? I've had so many niggas tell me when that shit happened it wasn't gonna last. I heard that shit all the time, that shit wasn't gonna last. And it got tricky, but
they made it work.
It's lasting.
And now I feel like we're progressing and being the bigger man.
Shout out,
and looking at the situation like, okay, hey, we're all men. Like, why continue this? You know what I mean? Let's make something better for the kids that are growing up and going to school. And the kids that are that's the future. The kids are the future. So why do we want this to continue? like I said,
it's a beautiful thing, man.
It is.
It definitely shocked.
TV.
It's shocked a lot of people. It's shocking. I was shocked.
Right. It left a lot of people in a maze and just like he said, wondering how did this come about. You know what I'm saying? And that's like I said, I don't even know. But at the end of the day, I'm for it, and I'm happy that it's it's peace now, because I mean, I want my son to be able to walk to the store. I want my little nephew to be able to walk to the store and get back with whatever he brought from the store.
And don't have to worry about nothing, man. But we pretty much reaching to the end of the video.
The fact that these guys could call a truce and have peace in the Florence area tells you that anyone can do it. They even had a big barbecue together to celebrate the event.
Damn. That's dope.
Well, I hope this taught you something about South Central LA, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So thanks for tuning in to Swamp Stories, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Peace!
But you already know the go, man. That's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just like he said, man, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like I said, if you enjoyed it, share it to your auntie, your granny, and your motherfucking baby.